I may not have a lot of money, but I still have a right to privacy. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show. Today's topic is your constitutional rights. I'm actually going to go through the list of the amendments to the Constitution so that you know your rights and so that you have absolutely no excuse, because I always say that people don't have an excuse, but I haven't gone over the rights, but I'm going to make this really short. I'm just going to list them off briefly. So a lot of people, I've made this statement that white people, and when I say white people, I'm talking about people in power, people in control, people in authority, people in the government, do not consider black people to actually be American citizens and not have constitutional rights that need to be observed. So a policeman doesn't feel that a black person is actually American, so a policeman can do whatever he wants to a black person, regardless of how rich they are, how powerful they are, regardless. They feel they can stop a black person, frisk them, check their car, search and rummage through their car, come to their house anytime that they want to, rummage through their house, and handcuff them and leave them on the side of the road. They feel absolutely, completely secure in the knowledge that the black person is not an American citizen, and so none of those rights need to be observed. So, I want to make sure that black people know their rights. So let's get to it. First Amendment protects freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, as well as the right to assemble and petition the government. Second Amendment protects the right to bear arms. That's to protect yourself even against the U.S. government, even against the United Nations. There is no constitutional limitation to it. You have a right to bear arms. There is no limitation. The liberals like to try and put a limitation to it. There is no limitation. You can have a bazooka. It is the government who has told you that you cannot. Third Amendment prohibits the forced quartering of soldiers during peacetime. Fourth Amendment prohibits unreasonable searches and seizures and sets out requirements for search warrants based on probable cause. They can't just say, you're black, I'm searching you. Fifth Amendment sets out rules for indictment by grand jury and eminent domain, protects the right to due process, and prohibits self-incrimination and double jeopardy. You have a right to remain completely silent. You do not have to answer any question from a policeman, nor any government agent, nor anybody in position of authority. You can remain 100% silent. You have a constitutional right to be completely quiet. Get it? 100%. 100%. What is your name? You do not have to answer that. Where are you going? You don't have to answer that. What are you doing? What are you driving? Whose car does this belong to? You do not have to answer any of that. 100% silent. Sixth Amendment protects the right to a fair and speedy public trial by jury, including the rights to be notified of the accusations, to confront the accuser, to obtain witnesses, and to retain counsel, which makes Gitmo completely unconstitutional. Seventh, provides the right to trial by jury in certain civil cases according to common law. Eighth, prohibits excessive fines and excessive bail, as well as cruel and unusual punishment. That includes black superstars. That includes black sports stars. Oh, I know, you all are saying, but they have money. No, it's unconstitutional. Ninth, protects right not enumerated in the Constitution. Anything not enumerated in the Constitution is reserved to not only the states, but to you. 10th Amendment limits the power of the federal government to those delegated to it by the Constitution. If it's not written down in the Constitution, the federal government does not have the authority, including the President Obama making executive orders. All executive orders are unconstitutional. He does not have that power, as per the Constitution. 11th, makes states immune from suits from out-of-state citizens and foreigners not living within the state borders, lays a foundation for sovereign immunity. 12th, revises presidential election procedures. 13th, abolishes slavery and involuntary servitude, including while you are in jail, except as punishment for a crime. Not servitude, meaning you can be punished for a crime, but you do not have to be forced to work while you're in jail. 14th, defines citizenship, contains the Privileges and Immunity Clause, the Due Process Clause, the Equal Protection Clause, and deals with post-Civil War issues. 15th, prohibits the denial of suffrage based on race, color, or previous condition of servitude, including slavery. 16th, allows the federal government to collect income tax, which is unconstitutional, I think. But they said it was ratified. When you look at the ratification, it was not passed. And that is why a lot of people are up in arms about it, and they're going to court, they're being sued, they're being put in jail, blah, 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 because the 16th Amendment was not properly ratified. Go look at the history. I know everybody pays their income tax, and income tax, when you read it, is voluntary. 17th, and the Supreme Court has said so. Go look up that too. 17th Amendment established a direct election of the United States senators by popular vote. Before they were appointed, it was actually much better to be appointed than popular vote. Popular vote means that somebody in New York who's a billionaire can buy a senator seat from Wisconsin. The idiots, the sheeple of America, don't get it. They think that voting for a senator is something that they're doing, and it's so awesome. No, it establishes that Senate seats can now be bought. 18th, established prohibition against alcohol, repealed by the 21st Amendment. 19th, established women's suffrage, which was not needed because it was already affixed before, but I guess they had to have specific language for it. 20th, fixes the dates of terms, commencement of Congress and the President, known as the Lame Duck Amendment. 21st, repeals the 18th Amendment, prohibiting alcohol. 22nd, limits the number of times that a person can be selected as president. A person cannot be selected president more than twice, and a person who has served more than 2 years of a term to which somebody else was elected cannot be elected more than once after that. 23rd, provides for representation of Washington, D.C. in the Electoral College. Those poor people in D.C., they have no rights. 24th, prohibits the revocation of voting rights due to non-payment of poll taxes. That was to fight against, black people being prohibited from being able to vote. Again, we had to make all of these amendments for white people to allow black people to do stuff that was constitutional, 100 years already. 25th, codifies the Tyler precedent, defines the process of presidential succession. 26, meaning on who's second, who's third, fourth, fifth, blah, 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 blah. My mother was the 50th person in line to the president at one point. 26, establishes the right to vote for those age 18 and older. Yay. 27th, prevents laws affecting congressional salary from taking effect until after the next election of the representatives. Now, you have absolutely no excuse when I say that you need to know your constitutional rights. That is a brief list. It doesn't go in detail into any of them, but that is a brief list. Okay, so if a police stops you and says, "Hey boy, where you going? What you doing? Stop." You say, "No. Bye. Adios." Right? Right? And if he says, "I'm gonna beat you, I'm gonna blah, blah," okay, then I'm gonna go get a lawyer and sue the hell out of you and make sure that you don't work another day at your job. You don't get upset. You don't get angry. You don't get tough. You say, I'm going to go get a lawyer. Just like that. That's how adults handle it, by the way, in case you were confused by it. That's how adults handle it. So if the police gets all, I'm macho man, I'm going to beat you up, blah, 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 you go get a lawyer, and you take his house, you take his car, you make sure that his children have to go to public school in the inner city, you make sure that his wife divorces him and takes the children and gets alimony and child support. That's what you do. That's what you do to animals like that. And you try your very best to hire a lawyer who would try and prosecute the animal. That's what you do to animals like that. Animals have badges too. You have to recognize that they're an animal first. They have badges. Sometimes they have a badge that says FBI. Sometimes they have a badge that says president. Sometimes they have a badge that says senator. You have to recognize that. And you have to take appropriate adult actions for that. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show.